So on top of the right to repair lawsuit that is against John Deere right now for selling these $500,000 tractors that are so advanced but not letting farmers know how to fix their own machines, John Deere's fixing to get slapped again. Hey y'all, thanks for tuning back into Chickanic. I hope everybody's having a great week. Yes, breaking news, John Deere is back in the headlines and it isn't good. If you saw my last video, I told you about how John Deere was in the middle of firing thousands of employees, shutting down some factories here in America, building a brand new factory in Ramos, Mexico, where they can hire engineers for say $20,000 USD instead of the $100,000 that they're paying them here. Or factory workers for $5,000 a year in Ramos, Mexico, instead of the $40,000 to $60,000 they'd have to pay them here. Now, why did John Deere say they had to do this? Well, they said there's just not enough demand here in America anymore. They're just not making enough. Even though they cleared $10 billion last year and recorded record-breaking profits. Well, John Deere's been firing a bunch of them employees, and it looks like they're being a little shady about it. Now, although it's just starting and there has been no suit filed just yet, the attorney Megan Benini has spoken with some of the fired employees, and she feels there is definitely grounds for wrongful termination.
But in offloading their future responsibilities, what they're doing is breaking a promise that they made to their employees. And we think that, this is illegal and it's also despicable.
Benani says if the former Deere workers choose to file lawsuits, each case would be considered individually rather than a class action lawsuit. She notes many of the workers laid off feel betrayed by John Deere.
These are employees who have dedicated their professional lives to Deere, and they have foregone other professional opportunities because of their loyalty, because of their dedication to the company that they saw as family.
Now, they're in the middle of their investigation, but what they are finding is that these employees were targeted for one, they're either older employees that were paid more, that were on the peak of maybe getting a boost in their pension or a perk of having full health benefits when they retire, instead handed a severance package that doesn't include any of that. Now, this is a growing trend with American businesses called de-risking. Companies will try to better their stocks by offloading future pensions. And you might think, oh gosh, John Deere can't do that. Well, they already got in trouble for it in 1984.
Farm machinery giant Deere & Company said Monday it has agreed to a $4.3 million out-of-court settlement of federal charges that it discriminated against workers over the age of 40. The charges against Deere were made by the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission on behalf of up to 116 salaried employees who lost their jobs in 1984 as part of Deere's cost reduction plan.
Now, the funny thing is you got to look at how they come to decide who to lay off. Well, John Deere doesn't do it themselves. They hire a consulting firm called BCG, Boston Consulting Group. Now, Boston Consulting Group, a $12 billion company, they take all the numbers, they make their suggestions and give it to John Deere, and John Deere goes off that on who they should fire. But does BCG have a good track record? Let's find out. 3 years ago, Ford Motor Company was sued for wrongful termination using the consulting firm BCG. And they ended up settling for $10.5 million. Now, who hired BCG to lose all that money that they definitely lost more than they would have if they would have just paid their people out? A man named John C. May, who is then and now part of the board of directors for Ford Motor Company. Well, guess what else John C. May does? He's the CEO of John Deere, who makes $27 million a year. So you would have thought, after you hired a consulting group to, help you consult just a few years ago that lost you $10.5 million, you're going to hire him again to do the same thing? I don't get it. Obviously, Carlin was right. There's a big club, and we ain't in it. Now, what's funny, though, is when I was looking into all this, I wasn't even thinking about Ford. When I saw the lawsuit thing, it just popped up. There it was. But I ended up going down a Ford rabbit hole. And if you own a Ford that you've bought in the last ever, you might want to check because Ford has already had 34 recalls this year, and that was in July, so I don't know, it might have added more since then, but that is hundreds and hundreds of thousands of vehicles that are recalled right now. So they're not having a good year, John Deere's not having a good year. I can't wait to see what happens to both of them, and I'll keep you updated. Now, the bad part about this is it's just going to be a slap on the wrist to John Deere, and the only one that it's going to win in the long run is the attorneys. Now, before I head out, I do want to tell y'all I started a Amazon store, one-stop shop for every cool tool that you could possibly ever want. There's pictures of everything and also showing you whether I use OEM or aftermarket on something, because I've learned through trial and error. I created sections dedicated to certain units that you might have.
Now, through these links, you can find all of my must-have diagnosing tools, things that I use on every single small engine I work on. On top of that, you can find all my favorite tools that I keep in my tool logs. I custom entire sections to certain videos that I make, that way it's a one-stop shop. All you have to do is click on the link, and you'll find all the parts you need to fix your unit. And remember, just because I'm suggesting a product doesn't mean you have to buy the exact one. A lot of times when you click on a product, it might be out of stock or it might be out of the price range you want to spend. Don't worry about it. There's always available options of products right below, more fitting for you. This is a super awesome way to support the channel with absolutely no additional cost to you. I want to give a huge thanks to everybody who's already used my links. Because of you, I never have to bore my viewers with paid sponsored advertisements.
So guys, thanks again for tuning in to Chickanic. I know this video saved you no time, money, and probably caused you a little frustration. If you find yourself coming back over and over again though, think about hitting that subscribe button. It helps out the algorithm to make my videos shown to more people to save them time, money, and frustration. Now, if you didn't get a chance to watch my last John Deere video that not only talked about the layoffs, but how they screwed thousands and thousands of customers with their faulty transmissions, doing a recall 7 years after the tractor was put out, I'll leave the link to the video right here.